I want to thank very much all of you for being today to hear and see the projects we have tried to develop in Madrid. I want also to thank the Association of Architects of Istria to make this invitation. Leonid might or might not have explained to you, I am an urban planner and landscape architect. I am part of the Observatorio Metropolitano, and this is a research group that was invited to the Post-Capitalist Cities seminar this summer. And one of the sessions was held in Muzil, and we were explaining about the situation. And my own interest and work has been developed around the potential and the use of, let's say, dismiss and use empty spaces or urban voids. And I thought Muzil was one of these situations, while it has been demilitarized after 200 years. And this was maybe a place to think. I teach at the Universidad Europea de Madrid, urban planning with a landscape approach. And then I proposed to my students to give ideas for the further development of the Muzil Peninsula. This development had to actually, usually the program of urban planning involves already what has to be there and what are the uses, and you expect people to more or less organize these uses around the territory in a rational way. I decided to take an ecological approach and set up a program that was based on two factors. One is that as Muzil had been for 200 years close and detached from the city of Pula, the new development should be connected with the city of Pula. And the second condition is this, as being now a public land and a former communal land, the citizens of Pula should have access to the resources generated in Muzil. This, as you can see, has been developed in different ways and different approaches. Each group have taken used different tools to make this thing possible, to make the fact that Muzil is not longer detached from the city, and that the inhabitants and the citizens of Pula have an access to the resources. And that means the environment, but that also means the productive resources, that also means the immaterial resources. Before some of the students are going to explain briefly their projects, I would like to point out several lines that I think we try to push forward and that you can maybe find in some of the projects or all of them. One of them is, as I said, this aspect that the citizens of Pula should have, let's say, their piece of Muzil and how this can be developed. Another main factor, and this has to be also with the ecological approach, is how to work with the existing, how to work with what is already there. This can be in the built environment, so that means reusing the existing buildings, but also in the natural environment, taking into account what is in the territory so that the project comes from the territory. It doesn't come up from top down. This is usually if you give a program and you decide in advance what it has to be. And another approach is to study what is in the territory and try to make the project generate from the territory. The third point will be to make active connections through the memory. This also, I believe this place has space in the collective memory, it has space in the history of Pula, and this should also be taken into account when you try to develop this piece of land. Fourth aspect will be how the local production can shape the future. I don't know the situation here in Croatia, but in Spain, after leaving this boom in development and real estate industry, Now there is a big crisis, and I think it's also useful to think what can happen when you cannot count on international financial money. There is not this availability of credit and money and liquid in the market anymore, and we live in a new situation, and we have to react to this new situation as urban planners. Another also, I think, important point is how we work with the social networks that already inhabit the territory, and how development is not only a physical development of the territory, but it's also a development of the networks, of the relationships, the social relationships, but also the productive relationships that are already there. There was also this interest about how the voids can fit Muzil, how the old quarry or the old fortresses or the leftover spaces actually can be used as a motor that develops the territory, and how this development should go on phases. How can we create mechanisms that are not going to decide what is happening with the territory in the next 20 years, but we can find a way to create processes that generate another processes that slowly can colonize the territory. Then the most sophisticated project, and this little story goes a little bit around here. You will see the different projects, and then in the last one there is maybe the most complex approach to this thing. How to create a development that actually generates different scenarios. How to integrate the fact that different uses affect each other, and that they can change over time, and that also will depend on the situations of Pula, not now, but in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, and how when this change, then the own development of the area of Muzil can also change and shape. And these, what I think is also interesting to notice, because if you go around reading the bits and bits that are in English, you will find that it's mentioned Felix Guattari, and I propose in my class the 3 ecologies of Felix Guattari as a base text of this project, as the common ground that me and the students we can have in order to discuss what is possible and what is maybe not so possible in the territory. And then Felix Guattari defines the 3 ecologies like an environmental ecology, and this is what we are used to. They say like this is all this carbon footprint and how the materials come and go and how is the water and the waste. But there is also social ecology. How are the relations, how are the productions, what is the value of the production, who gets this value, how this value is shared among the society. And the third question that Guattari says is the mental ecology. Well, I said maybe the mental ecology is a little bit too complex for us, so we skip and try to stay on the environmental ecology and the social ecology. So, well, I hope you could see these lines through the projects, but nevertheless, some of the authors of the projects are going to explain what they have done.